There is one number you actually want. Not a strategy, not a list of tickers, not somebody's opinion. One number. The amount you could put into the market and then live off the dividends for the rest of your life. I wanted that number too, and I went looking for it, and what I found was that almost every video answering this question is answering the wrong half of it. They tell you the number. Nobody tells you the part that decides whether you ever get there. So by the end of this video you will have 3 funds, the exact percentage for each one, and the honest answer to what $10,000 turns into after 30 years with every dividend reinvested. And I am going to show you the version where that works, and the version where it does not, because both of those are true, and you deserve to see both. Let me start with the formula, because it takes about 15 seconds and then we can talk about what actually matters. You take the yearly income you want, and you divide it by your dividend yield. That is it. If you want $40,000 a year and your portfolio pays 3%, you divide 40,000 by 0.03, and you get $1,333,000. That is the number. Now watch what happens in your head when you hear it. You feel it drop. 1.3 million. You do the arithmetic against your salary, and something in you quietly closes the tab. That reaction is the entire reason most people never live off dividends. Not the market, not fees, not picking the wrong fund. The number looks like a wall, and the timeline behind it looks even worse, so people never start, or they start and quit somewhere in year 2 when the whole thing is paying them $11 a month. I have watched people do this. They open the account, they buy a few shares, they watch the first dividend land, they feel slightly embarrassed by how small it is, and they go find something faster. And the thing about compounding is that it gives you almost nothing for the first stretch, and then does something absurd at the far end. Which means quitting early feels completely rational, right up until the moment it becomes the most expensive decision of your life. So the real question is not how much money you need. The real question is how much time you need, and whether you can survive it. Time is the thing that builds the number. You do not need to arrive with $1.3 million. You need to still be holding when the math finally shows up. Alright, the 3 funds. I am using SCHD at 50%, DGRO at 30%, and VIG at 20%. And I want to explain why those 3, because they are not doing the same job. SCHD is the Schwab US Dividend Equity Fund. Right now it yields 3.13%, which is the highest of the 3 by a wide margin, and its expense ratio is 0.06%. It tracks 100 companies screened for dividend yield, cash flow to debt, return on equity, and dividend growth. Its top holdings are names like Abbott, Amgen, Merck, Coca-Cola, Chevron, Verizon, Pepsi. Over the past 5 years, it has returned 9.54% annualized. Here is the job SCHD is doing in this portfolio. It is the one you can feel. It pays you enough, early enough, that you actually see money arriving, and seeing money arrive is the thing that keeps you in the seat. That sounds soft. It is not. It is the single biggest predictor of whether you are still investing in year 8. DGRO is the iShares Core Dividend Growth Fund. It yields 1.89%, which is low, and the expense ratio is 0.08%. But it holds close to 400 companies, and it screens for businesses that are raising their dividends, not businesses that pay the most today. Its top holdings look different, more like Microsoft, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, AbbVie, Exxon, Apple, Broadcom. Over 5 years it has returned 11.09% annualized, and over 10 years, 13.37%, which is the best of the 3. DGRO is not there to pay you now. It is there to build the pile that pays you later. VIG is the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund. It yields 1.50%, the lowest of the 3, and it has the cheapest expense ratio at 0.04%. It only holds companies with at least 10 straight years of dividend increases. 5-year return, 10.43%. 10-year, 12.99%. And I will be straight with you about something here, because you might be looking at VIG and DGRO and thinking they look similar. They do. Both are dividend growth funds. Both yield under 2%. Both lean large cap. There is overlap. VIG is stricter about the 10-year track record. DGRO is broader and caps how much yield it will chase, so it avoids the value traps. If you wanted to run this portfolio with 2 funds instead of 3, you could, and it would not be a disaster. I am keeping both because they screen differently, and I would rather own 2 versions of the growth engine than 1. Blend those 3 at 50, 30, 20, and here is what you are actually holding. Your portfolio yields 2.43%. Your weighted expense ratio is 0.062%, which means on $10,000 you are paying about $6 a year in fees. And your blended 5-year annualized return, using the real trailing numbers for each fund, is 10.18%. Now the part you came for. $10,000. One time. No new money. Every dividend reinvested automatically, for 30 years, at 10.18%. After 10 years you have $26,365, and it is paying you $53 a month. After 20 years, $69,511, paying $141 a month. And after 30 years, $183,266, paying you $371 a month. $371 a month. I want to sit in that for a second instead of rushing past it, because this is the number nobody puts in a thumbnail. $10,000, held with total discipline for 3 decades, through every crash and every temptation, and at the end of it your dividends cover a phone bill and some groceries. That is the honest answer to the question I asked at the start. One lump sum of $10,000 does not buy you a life. It never did. And every video that implies otherwise is selling you the shape of an answer instead of the answer. But look closer at what those 3 numbers just did, because there is something in there. From year 10 to year 20, you gained about $43,000. From year 20 to year 30, you gained about $114,000. Same money, same fund, same nothing. The last decade did nearly 3 times the work of the first one, and you did not do anything differently. You just did not sell. That is compounding. And that is why the quitting problem is the whole problem. The person who bails in year 12 because $100 a month is not worth the wait is walking away right before the machine starts working. So what actually gets you there? Contributions. Time plus a habit, instead of time plus a wish. Same 3 funds, same percentages, same reinvesting, same $10,000 to start. Now add money every month. $200 a month. After 30 years you have $610,479, and it pays you $1,236 a month in dividends. That is a car payment, insurance, and utilities covered forever without touching the principal. $500 a month. 30 years gets you $1,251,298, paying $2,534 a month. For a lot of people that is rent, or a mortgage, plus food. $1,000 a month. 30 years, $2,319,329, throwing off $4,697 a month. That is a full income. That is the version where you stop working because you want to, not because you hit some age. And notice what happened between scenario 1 and scenario 2. The starting amount did not change. The funds did not change. The market did not change. The only thing that changed is that you kept showing up. $10,000 alone gave you $371 a month. $10,000 plus $500 a month gave you $2,534. Nearly 7 times the income from a habit, not from a better pick. Now I have to give you the other side of this, because I have been quoting a 10.18% return, and that number came from the last 5 years. And the last 5 years were unusually good. Markets do not owe you a repeat. So let me run the same portfolio at 7%, which is a much more sober assumption over 3 decades. At 7%, $10,000 alone becomes $76,123 after 30 years, paying $154 a month. With $200 a month added, $310,013, paying $628 a month. With $500 a month, $660,849, paying $1,338 a month. With $1,000 a month, $1,245,575, paying $2,522 a month. Smaller, still real, And I would rather you plan against the 7% number and be pleasantly surprised than plan against 10 and be quietly wrecked in year 25. The truth is probably somewhere between the two, and neither one of them is a promise, including the ones I just read you. Two more things you need to know before you go build this, because they will cost you money if nobody tells you. The first is taxes. SCHD, DGRO, and VIG mostly pay qualified dividends, which get taxed at long-term capital gains rates rather than your income rate, and that is genuinely favorable. But reinvested dividends still count as income in the year you receive them, even though you never saw the cash. In a taxable brokerage account, you will owe tax on money that went straight back into buying more shares. If you have access to a tax-sheltered account, this strategy belongs in there, and the difference over 30 years is not small. The second is that these projections assume you reinvest everything and never sell, and that is a much harder promise than it sounds. There will be a year where this portfolio is down 20% and something else on your screen is up 80%, and every part of you will want to move. The math I just showed you only exists for the person who does not. And I need to say clearly that I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. This is me showing you real numbers from public data and explaining how the math works. Every fund I mentioned can lose money. Past performance does not predict future returns, and you should do your own research before you invest a single dollar. So here is where we land. The number you were looking for at the start of this video, that 1.3 million, is real, and it is not a wall. It is what the habit builds. You do not need to have it. You need 30 years and a contribution you can actually sustain, and the discipline to not touch the thing while it looks like it is doing nothing, because for the first 10 years it will look like it is doing nothing, and that is exactly when it is working. If this was useful, subscribing genuinely helps, and it means you will see the follow-up, because the obvious next question is what happens when you finally stop reinvesting and start spending those dividends, and how you sequence that without handing a fortune to the taxman. That one is coming. I will see you in the next one.